We're looking today on the radio shop a Philco 42-380. This happens to be a pre-war 42 because it's an actual chassis and not a auto radio shoved into a cabinet like some of them are. Some of the Model 42s are because of war production. But we're looking at it here. It's had some of the rubber coated wiring replaced. It's got some replaced filter capacitors hanging in the wind and some loose other things, and I've got all the parts and I'm going to work on it and we're going to get started. As I'm working through this chassis, the cord was cut, but it had also been replaced at one point in time with somebody just taped onto the original thing, the original cord that was stuck to the capacitor that goes across the line, and just used friction tape and stuck it on there onto the old rubber coated wire that was there. So we are definitely going to take care of that by putting on a new cord. We will also test the switch, because sometimes these switches go bad and people would replace them with volume controls with switches on the back. I know I've got a 41-280 that was done that way, and I just left it alone because if the switch they put in works fine with the volume switch, it was done a long time ago, it works. We'll test this one out. Also, I noticed this coil. The coil itself is not broken, but what the coil hooks to is broken. I'm going to have to glue that back and put it there, probably from handling it with some loose parts, because this was loose. I do have all the screws that go with this, and most of the rubber coated wire has been replaced. There's a few pieces that I need to replace, but we're going to go on now. So this is still a Philco potted tar $39.03 DG or ODG capacitor, and you can see here's the rotted old power cord on there, and here's the rest of it right here. I'm going to cut that down so we can get to it better, and we're going to replace the capacitors inside there. So I had to move that out of the way. Here's a little bit of close-up of this Philco Bakelite capacitor block. It's a 3903 ODG, which is probably 2.015s across the line, or it may just be one across the line. As you can see the rotted power cord there. Just a little bit closer up, look at it. We're going to heat it up and punch that out. So the backlight block normally pops out when I do that in one thing, so I don't have to unsolder everything. It'll normally pop out in one big goo, but it did not this time, and I had to beat on it. So I still have a couple of wires I need to remove and then restuff it. And according to this one, it is 2.01s between terminals 1 and 3 and 1 and 2. So I've got the Bakelite block capacitor restuffed, and I put a new cord on it. It looks like that cord's touching here and here, and it's not. It's just the way the insulation is over that far. But I gotta screw this thing I put on back down because I had to move it out of the way after I installed it, and we'll go from there. Okay. So there we've mounted the caps. I've redone the Bakelite block cap. Most of the other caps have been done. I thought I found one up in here that hadn't, but it was cut loose, and the replacement is there, the yellow one. Right back here, that's the replacement for that one. I just couldn't get to the other end of it without taking the whole dang tuning mechanism out, push button tuning mechanism out, and I really didn't want to if I could avoid it. I'll have to glue that back down so it's not hanging off there. But I am about ready to do a smoke test on it. The switch is good, I just verified that. So I'm going to see if I can set it up for a smoke test, but first I have to replace the dial string which goes around there, and I need to find what I did with the dial pointer. Here's a look at the dial on this 42380. It's in really good shape. I had cleaned it up. It was dirty. I had cleaned it up, and it still remains fairly clean. I also have to find what I did with the escutcheon and some other things. I've taken a few tubes out. Probably I was testing them at the time. This is a radio that I put away, got a long time ago, started working on it, put it away, and then have decided to fix it now to enjoy. So, continuing on. The Philco 42380, we're going to take a close-up look at the dial here. The dial pointer was missing, and I think it was originally missing because the whole dial string was missing and whatnot. So I manufactured one out of a piece of wire. So there it goes. I got to do a little bit of tweaking of it so that it behaves correctly. But it looks pretty good for a homemade dial pointer. Made it out of a piece of wire, soldered it together, made a little slide thing, hooked it to the string. So it appears that it works pretty darn well. There's the little close-up of the dial pointer. Once it gets in there, it's not going to be that noticeable with the backlight against it. So that's the homemade dial pointer for this Philco 42380. So doing a little troubleshooting here on this 42380, had no sound on my first power up. Volume control did absolutely nothing, only the tone control, bass tone control made a little bit of change in the volume. And I got to looking, when I originally replaced the rubber coated wire coming from the volume control, I accidentally stuck it on this ground post instead of right here. Because I couldn't find this 0.01 capacitor that was supposed to be coming off the center tap of the volume control going to the 7C6, and then I found it after tracing my wiring from the schematic and going, aha, I know what it is. So we're going to do another sound test.
AM 740 and 96.7 FM in downtown Toronto. Thank you for sharing the evening with me.
So this 42380 has now come alive. I need to do a little bit more alignment on it, but what I found was wrong with it is somehow I had splashed a little piece of solder that was shorting this frame out to that right there, which was detuning it completely and not allowing it to work. Because if you notice, if I push on this, the capacitance of my finger changes the tuning on it. So right now it's been working pretty good. I'm picking up Zoomer radio out of Toronto. My alignment is a little bit off, but not by much. My pointer's on about 710-ish and it's 740. So it's off about a little bit. And it could be that my pointer's off. But the problem is I glued my pointer down. So it may just have to be off.
Then who? Words that today feel the spirit of Travis-Manian Foundation. Words that live in veterans, families of the fallen, and inspired civilians who go out of their way to find a way, who help others with the help of others, who bounce back after each setback, who make good.
Politics and supply problems. But it is at last accelerating, with temporary centers springing up everywhere.
Correspondent Elizabeth Palmer reporting. More than 110,000 more Illinoisans have gotten the COVID-19 vaccine in the last 24-hour reporting period. State Department of Public Health also today reporting the 7 days.
Your city capital? Insurance for a while? Exams and blood tests? It's no wonder you put it off. It can seem so confusing, expensive, and time-consuming. But Ethos is a new way to buy life insurance. Ethos.
Say on half.
Fear no more, O daughter Zion. See your king.
But I've been on a lot of FaceTime calls and regular phone calls with my family. Everybody's texting me and stuff. It's all been great. It is hard to know.
Bed Bath, Target, and Biden.
So this,
Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E. Clean
this
nose,
speaker on this
healthy life.
42.3
Portions of the following program will be recorded. Broadcasting live 24/7 from the Tom Drexler Plumbing, Air, and Electric Studios. This is News Radio 840 WHAS.
We'll see mostly clear skies eventually take over as we head through tonight. Calm and colder out there. Areas of frost will develop overnight tonight with lows dropping off into the middle 30s. We look ahead for your Monday. It's a beautiful weather day and a nice start to the work week. Sunny and seasonable with highs reaching the lower 60s. Clear skies continue for your Monday
So
night.
that the hull wouldn't be a problem. So that's how you can repair tears and
Surging
leaks in
into the
speaker
lower
cones. You
70s by
don't
your
need to
Tuesday afternoon under mostly
recone the
sunny
speaker
skies.
unless it's just
That's your
totally
updated
ripped
forecast. I'm
out.
WLKY
Since this one had a
meteorologist
hole,
Chris
and I
Johnson.
just
News
did
Radio
it.
840
It won't rip
WHAS.
anymore. As long as I don't poke my finger or tool through it, it should be good.
Podcasts every
And here is the finished complete Philco 42 380. I put a new escutcheon on it, 2 new knobs, and 1 new push button on it, and then I filled in different things on the push button for the escutcheon, turn it on for broadcast, play shortwave, and these were tuned, and then that's the off one. And I just made up stuff because I don't really know what they're tuned to. But we're going to test it out now that it's back in the cabinet and see how she sounds.
You got a 5-year policy, you're probably okay. Like 87% of the time, right? In other words,
this idea about whether you tax for net value is created or where sales are made or whatever. Those things, I mean, the OECD has been working on this for a very, very long time, and surely it would all be part of the same things. When Janet Yellen is talking about a method of tax rate, that's just keep the argument become a little bit more pay down the bucket in the way that people tax, that's what we're pointing out. I still think to make some kind of global agreement about the way you tax.
The landscape escape, and you're coming off this high on that huge basket the other night against UCLA. Does undefeated sneak into the pressure of this now, or is it just simply the thought of the championship?
Their challenge here is going to be very difficult, is to find this play, to find this play, it's watching goals.
That's just begun. The judgment has not yet been carried out. Sentence has yet to be executed.
Right.
Well, since I brought that up, tell us a little
This has
bit
turned out to be a very sensitive set. I'm very impressed with it. As little as the chassis there is in it, even though it is a 1942 pre-war production, because it's not using a car radio shoved in this cabinet. It actually has a full chassis. It means it was probably designed and manufactured at the end of 41, before Pearl Harbor, before they all ramped up for other things for war production.
I don't think that they were trying to build up something so tall.
in the minor leagues. Here's a breaking pitch in the dirt. That's scooped on a hop by Alfaro, who throws a new ball to the mound with a 2-1 count on Nolan Arenado. They're experimenting with new bases in the minor leagues, and it's going to be, again, wider, really a bigger square, but not as...
So anyway, that's it. A Philco 42-380. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, all those goody things, and we'll bring you more stuff as we can. Thank you for watching.